Good morning, everyone. It's Claudia Spanier here on the podcast of Kenza Rise. Today, I'm going to be speaking to Natalie Keane about her new short film called One Mistake. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Okay, so what genre is your film?
Well, I'd say it's probably best described as social realism, although it does have, some psychedelic elements in the same way that Trainspotting does. It's a bit trippy in places.
Very interesting. And did it challenge or use conventions?
Well, to be honest with you, I love social realism, and also living in London and being young, I felt that it was kind of natural for me to create a social realist film. I felt it really captured the zeitgeist of my generation and what's, the issues that are facing today's youth. I filmed it in London, which has a gritty urban feel, whether you want it to or not. So that was very typical of social realist films. And, the mise en scène within the house that I filmed in is also quite, I think, typical of an urban location in social realist films, like maybe nicer than Fish Tank, but that kind of
vibe.
Yes, exactly.
What context does it deal with?
So in terms of content, it's about a girl who accidentally, she has an unfortunate experience accidentally, which I felt was very realistic and relevant for my target audience. So in the same way that lots of social realist films do deal with issues with drugs, I have, and I don't glamorize it. I'm not trying to, show it. This is a real, it's a horror. It's a horrifying situation, and I'm hoping to capture that through the cinematography. And in the same way, as in Trainspotting, you feel disorientated, you feel her fear, which I thought was quite...
Good way of showing it.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't sugarcoat, drug use. It's not meant to glamorize it in any way.
Does it end in a cliffhanger or a happy ending?
Well, like social realist films, it ends on a cliffhanger, because that's the one thing that I noticed in my research was there's no happy endings in social realism. So I thought I would apply that to my film. And, in the troubled relationships as well, that was another aspect of social realism, which I felt during my research, I noticed was in so many different texts, and I've applied that to mine.
Hi everyone, we're back at the Kenza Rise radio station for part 2, back with the Natalie Keane. So Natalie, I heard there's been a lot of controversy and the audience might become quite confused in social groups and their issues and how you represented them. What's your response?
Yes. Do you know what? The media love a moral panic. They love to, attack any text that shows something, which isn't kind of with a hegemonic, dominant, mainstream culture. But I really and truly don't believe that I am depicting a negative representation of youth. I think it's actually quite positive. I think she's very relatable. It's not, she's not carrying out recreational drug use. This is a mistake, and one which causes her to really, really panic. And, I think we can see that she's not enjoying this. So for the press to say that I'm glamorizing...
would just be wrong.
Yeah, it's to totally misunderstand the message and the point of my film. She's clearly meant to represent a normal young teenage girl, the way she gets ready, the way she's going out, she's playful. She's meant to be very relatable, and it's more of a warning, I'd say, than a negative representation. It's kind of telling people, this could happen and what to be aware
of. Do the youths... how are they represented?
Well, I've actually had a really positive response from young people who've seen the film, because there's a sense of naturalism. It's very real, and that's what I was going for. Sometimes teenagers act impulsively, and that's all shown within my film. I'm attracting a young demographic. That's my target audience. So I want to have something that they can relate to, that they can get involved with and sink their teeth into. And if they can see themselves in my main character, then I've achieved my goal. I'm not trying to demonize young people. In fact, I'm just trying to show that, they're human, and there's some very likable young people out there, and they're not all taking drugs and behaving badly. Maybe if you do see a drunk teenager on the streets, maybe you shouldn't be so quick to judge. Maybe they're
just trying to have fun.
They're trying to have fun, and it's about learning your limits, isn't it? And that's what I wanted to show.